You know, one of the things I really enjoyed about this film was the fact that when Ajay Devgn is venting all his spleen by beating up a bunch of slum dwellers who've taken a bribe from corrupt politicians, a mother of one of these boys actually gives him as good as she gets. And she really gives him a lecture on how it is easy for cops and other such people to vent their anger. But what about these poor people? And she says, if you have the guts, why don't you go and beat that corrupt politician? That would be worthy of your vardi. And I think the fact that you have a junior artist who's actually done these lines, I presume she's a junior artist, and it was there was so much conviction, and for that moment it was really an edifying moment, and I think that resonates strongly with the audience. And if there were more moments like this would actually be a really, really good film.
Yeah, well, I agree with you. I think that particular scene where the mother really says that, hey, you know what, I've taken 5,000 rupees, or at least my son has taken 5,000 rupees, but we don't care, because even if governments change, their lives don't change. So they may as well take money and vote, and at least that takes care of the 5 days of meal on the table. And that's sort of also justified. But this film by itself is so bombastic, and it takes, you take one good scene out there, and then you have 20 stereotypes thereafter. I mean, my favorite stereotyping is, of course, of the media, and this happens repeatedly in films. I'm sorry, I belong to that fraternity, and I hate the way journalists are treated in films, in life also in general. We're not paid too well. So there's this Meera Johari who's supposed to be a, Barkha Dutt sort of character, and the way that she's shown to be this, ambitious reporter who's going, one place to another, filing stories, or at least talking to the camera with her stories. I mean, here is someone who comes across as a soap queen, and and that's really disservice to a bunch
full
of
on colored bindis and
straight from Kareena Kapoor
lurid, exactly, yeah.
And I think having said everything, journalists do tend to do a great job. They do tend to be mirrors to society. They're not the netas who used to be caricatured back in the 90s or in the 80s. They're not the money lenders or thakurs who used to be caricatured back in the 50s and 60s. They can't be the new villains, but that's the scene with this film. And that's not the only reason I did not like it, by the way.
Netas, abhinetas, all of the above. Let's get back to you with our verdict.
So that was Friday Double Bill for you. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. See you next week.